You need to leave that Red Bull banned because
really
I get IDs for Red
to
Bull.
get Red Bull.
No, I get IDs for Red Bull. It's terrible. But
Welcome back. DadPod episode 3, people. Yeah. So if you've watched the first two, welcome back, guys. And if you haven't, this is DadPod with myself, NT,
Bobby,
and Chris.
Will
off camera. And this is the podcast where we talk about being a parent, being dads, and everything in between. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So how's everyone been doing this week and that?
and our Will's got a bit of a story to tell us.
Oh yeah, go for
Okay,
it, man.
yeah, take it away then.
You know what, lads? This one's one that you guys might not relate to because you look like parents, whereas I don't. So
What are you trying to say?
I'm politely saying you guys on the other side of 30, whereas I'm on this side of it. So I don't even.
Right side of 40 then.
Right. Sorry, yeah. Before we go anywhere else.
Oh yeah.
Is he from the first one?
For those of you who watched the first two episodes, you may have noticed that there was a lot of beeps, mainly from this guy. So
Oh, hands up to that.
we are
I've
now
got a dirty
introducing this. So if you would like to explain this.
Yeah, so this is our swear jar. These guys,
I've ruined it for myself. I was going to say it was yours.
So when we were editing the, or should I say when Natty was editing the first couple of episodes, the guys noticed that I was just going off on one with my
Beeps on beeps on beeps.
I'm just swearing left, right, and centre. That's just me. All right, so just let me be. But we decided to introduce a swear jar.
How much is every swear?
It's something that we use in the household.
Yeah.
And I think when this gets full up, we're all going to contribute whenever we beat. It's mainly going to be me, let's be honest. But so
we're at £1. You're at 50p.
I'm going to be selling the house soon. But this is the money that's going into this is going to go to a men's mental health charity. So any suggestions, you guys put it in the comments and we'll have a look at them and yeah.
Or just potentially any charity that helps dads as well.
Exactly,
If there's one that you guys know that will help dads in any way, legal battles, just caring for their children, so on and so forth, or mental health, as Chris said. Yeah. Just put the comment suggestion, we'll work out.
So that is going to go pride of place.
And
right
each swear costs exactly how much?
£1, was it?
Hang on, £1. But for you, Chris, we might have to give you a discount off.
Yeah, it might have to be 50p for you.
Give me a loyalty discount. that black card.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good thing, man. Because we might raise a little bit of money for a charity and that, and it will help us as well. Because
we'll lose our popular.
we want it to be like a fairly PG podcast, so people can listen to it when they've got their kids and that. So the kids not asking them what certain words are.
Yes, definitely.
Chris is talking, so just take it.
Just skip to the next bit.
Dad, why don't you beep in real life?
Oh, you know what? Yeah. So now the swear jar's out the way, I'll entice you about this week's trip to the doctor. So obviously my little one, he got ill as they all do. They end up having to go doctors, and you have to do the whole doctor run. And so I've gone to the doctors, I've checked in at the reception, everything's fine, sitting in the waiting room waiting for the doctor. So this woman's now called me, she's not called me, called my son, so she shouted out, "Oh, can come." Yeah. So I'm like, okay, sweet. So I've got up, I've walked in the room, she's asked me how I am, I'm like, "I'm all good, are you okay?" She went, "Yes, I'm okay." And then she just went, and I was like, okay, and then she went, is there any chance you could call your brother's parents? Because I can't discuss his. She's like, she can't discuss his medical background or history without the parent.
Oh my!
So
God.
I've just.
I would have loved to have seen your face, man.
I've just gone,
big bro.
I've just gone. So I'm his dad, and she's gone. Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. And she just started stumbling, and the whole appointment from there, yeah, was just pretty much her being very awkward. I mean, you're just there like this. I'm bright red like a tomato. My son's none the wiser as to what's going on, and he's just getting happy because he's getting prodded and poked by a doctor. So he's like, yeah, look at me, I'm sick, and I'm just there like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm apparently a big brother, mate.
To be fair though, she shouldn't assume.
This is what I would have thought she could have asked is who I am. This is how I thought she could have approached that by like, oh hello, so who are you today? Who am I seeing today? Like who am I seeing today or something? You know, like because when I've gone there, it's like, so what are we here for today? Like when I've gone there for myself. So maybe she could have said, what are we here for today? And I could have been like, oh, so basically I picked my son up from nursery, and as soon as I said that, she's already got the verification she needed. And the thing is, not only that, like if you. Like, I'm sure on his records, my name's obviously on his records.
Yeah.
My date of birth, I had to give that when I said. So surely she should just took a quick little glimpse of that and seen that I'm a 22-year-old father, like from the date of birth, like.
She
and like,
obviously thinks she's still in like secondary school or something.
No, I got ID for Red Bull, so it wouldn't. I got ID to buy a Red Bull, and do you know what, Keir Starmer, if you can see this, Keir Starmer, you need to lift that. I know it weren't you that done it. I know it wasn't you that done this, but you need to lift that Red Bull ban because I get ID for Red Bull. No, I get ID for Red Bull. It's terrible, but beat this. I don't get ID for a disposable vape. I get ID for Red Bull, but vapes.
That's
clearly, it's okay for children to. That's a pound in the jar. That's a pound in the jar for you guys. No, but it's true. When I used to smoke the vapes when I come away from the fags, and the disposable ones is what I was like hot onto, as are all the kids before. Now they're being banned. But I never used to get ID'd for them. But every time I go for a Red Bull, lo and behold, I will get ID'd for a drink I need to be 16 for. But I need to be 18 to have this cherry flavoured stick, and apparently
you can get addicted to nicotine when you can't get addicted to caffeine.
This is what I'm saying. Apparently, I'm not allowed to get addicted to caffeine, but I can get addicted to nicotine.
But you can walk into a coffee shop and get anything. You can get double espressos in
exactly.
This is true, you know. Like the reason they ban energy drinks, I swear it's because of the caffeine content. But if I wanted to go get a coffee, they'd probably serve my.
They are crazy high in those, so like you can't be having your kids drinking those.
To be fair, I gave them a little bit of a McDonald's ice frappe the once, and never again because they was off the rules.
If someone gave my kids Red Bull, they're looking after my kids.
100%.
My kids have enough
They are
energy as it is.
responsible until that wears off.
It's bad enough when your kids go to like birthday parties and they've been propped up with sweets, and then they get home and they're like, it's like a gremlin's been released. Just bouncing off the walls.
Whenever my kids go to their aunties, she's like, yeah, do you want some sweets? Do you want some chocolate? Do you want? And left, right, and centre, and
just
his nans as well.
Come on, man, what are you doing?
my lad always goes up to his nan and goes, I'm hungry. What do you want, a sandwich? No. What do you want, like bread and butter? No. Sweets? Yeah. Let's go for it.
Exactly what he's doing. Exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and then he's just like whizzing around with the shirt off, like thinks he's Petey Pablo or something.
You know, I kind of, as much as I love taking my kids to parties, I actually hate taking them to parties. Not because they're in the party and having fun and whatnot. It's literally the aftermath. 9 times out of 10, when you go to a kid's party, you don't get back till bedtime. And like for me anyway, my kids are free. They're in bed by 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So like we get back, and I'm like, all right, we need to get ready for bed. Then. No, they've got too much. It doesn't happen. They're not in bed for another 2 because I put them in bed, and they're just playing. They're playing games.
To be fair, where we live in that, like most of the kids' parties start at 12, finish latest 4.
Because the parents know.
The parents know.
The parents know.
There needs to be a 3-hour window after to get them to bed.
And they know, like it's an unwritten rule, and if you break that rule, then when it's time for your kids to go to a party, we're gonna get you back.
I'm gonna get double the sugar as well.
We're gonna get you back.
The cake is Haribo.
Red Bulls for everyone.
Right. Yeah, man. So I think that leads us nicely into our talking point for the episode.
Yeah. So the talking point is for today, people, how your parents influenced your parent style, being a girl dad.
Yeah. Do you want to lead then, Bobs? You are the girl dad.
I am a girl dad.
Exclusively.
Exclusively, yeah. To be like, the weird thing is, when I was growing up and that, like I knew from the age of 15 I wanted to be a dad. When anyone asked me what I wanted to be, that's the only thing I do.
That's crazy.
Same.
And then like, I always imagined that I'd have a boy. And then as soon as obviously I knew I was having a girl, I was buzzing. And then even with like the second coming along, I was just buzzing. And now like I've got these girls, and obviously I'm in a situation where I have them like a lot of the time. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like I don't know. Luckily enough, I haven't had to dress up as a princess yet, but I can't see that day coming. I think it's
how are you going to handle like the makeup situation and stuff?
So they've already
you got to lead into it.
Paint your nails and that.
So I've done the painting the nails.
Okay.
I've painted the nails. And
have they painted your nails?
Nah. I've avoided the conversation. So like, if they ask, it depends what mood to catch me in, I guess. If they don't go out anywhere, do you know what? Knock yourself out. But
if they put makeup on you.
Huh?
Are you letting them put makeup on you?
No. Not yet. I haven't. It depends how much they want it.
So you would let them put makeup on you?
It depends on how much I want peace. Because
Halloween.
if that's gonna equal peace, then dress me up as much as you like. It's fine.
Well, so you guys know I'm a step parent as well, and my stepdaughter. So early years of being with my missus. I was around her as well, down like a daughter's. She's quite young, like I think she was like 4 or 5 at that point, and yeah, she wanted me to play with her, and what we were playing was dress up.
Oh no!
So she's got me in the salon.
I said the salon, you know.
She's putting clips in my hair.
You got pterodactyl.
Yeah, I just went with it because as a girl, you gotta go with it.
You know what though? For Bobs, I think Bobs is lucky. Bobs is never gonna have to worry about getting clips put in his head.
Exactly.
I knew that was going on.
I was serious saying it.
It's strategy. That's what it is. This was all planned.
Do you know what? Do you know what though?
That's gonna be a scary image with the makeup and the bald head.
It's supposed to be a safe place, man.
Sorry, man.
Bobby's just on here getting terrored.
This is what do they call it? What do they call it? Toxic masculinity or something like this? Is toxic masculinity at its finest or something?
Look, the girls are constantly taking the mick out of my hair, man.
Yeah.
Constantly, man.
All the time. I get called Baldy a lot by my boys.
But it is.
Alright, Baldy.
At least they're not like they're telling the truth, aren't they? They're not like.
Yeah, they're not lying.
I got locks.
They're being truthful.
The weirdest thing is, right, and I don't know if this is a bad thing or not, but I've only just learned properly how to do a plait.
Really?
Fair play.
I still
Something
don't
in
know.
6
So,
years,
yeah.
and it's like.
Kudos to you, man.
I've been able to do them for a while, but I've never been confident enough to send them out in public with one.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's fine though, because like it's kind of in a similar boat to you, because like obviously our kids are mixed race and that, so she had to get a lot of help from like my sisters and like my mum and stuff with like doing their hair, because
Yeah, because they'll have the like tighter curls and stuff.
To like a white child's hair, so like we had to get like certain products for them and stuff, and like you can't like comb the hair out, you have to like wash it and like style it and stuff, because it's like that curly.
Yeah.
It's just and if you leave it too much, it starts to get like it will start to get made.
Yeah.
Yeah, picky,
so it's like
picky
yeah. But like I struggled with it a little bit as well, because like it's similar to my hair but also very different, because like my hair was like really like, well, when I had hair.
I was about to say, it's definitely. I was itchy, you know, I was so itchy. I was like,
where's my ear?
So it was like really tight curls, but you could comb my hair out, and like when I
literally did comb it out.
Bob, you're supposed to be on the ball, guys.
Yeah, so like I had,
Trying that
to,
James
I
Brown.
had, yeah. Mate, if you ever saw me when I had braids, I used to get it done at a hair.
Wait, you had braids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I was young, I had braids.
In school, Natty held a petition for him to grow an afro.
Did ya?
The petition was we had enough numbers, but he like couldn't do it.
Yeah, right. It's not hard. That
just couldn't grow it out.
Well,
Couldn't grow it out.
yeah, now
Like,
they can't grow the hair at all.
But like, I used to wash it and that, and then my mum used to like straighten it for me, and then I'd walk down to the hairdressers, and like my hair would be like a weeping willow tree. Because it used to like have a part in there, and then it used
And
to
it
just
come
come
out
down
and
to my
it's
shoulder. Yeah, man. But yeah,
So how with your girls, how was your parent? Which one of your parents do you reckon you've taken most influence from, or is it?
I guess it is actually a combination of both. So, like my parents split when I was like 7, but I always had both parents. So, and to be fair, do you know what I really rate about my parents? Like obviously, you know, they've made mistakes and stuff, and there's things they've probably got wrong, and but there's things that just as much as things they've got right. But I feel the biggest thing that they let us do, like this is for my brothers as well, like and my sister, is they kind of just let us make our own mistakes.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, go do what you're doing, and if you make a mistake, it's cool as long as you learn from it.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that's so. Like with even them now, like obviously, like you know, you see a lot of parents and they're like they hold their kid really close whenever they're out in public and that. And I'm like, as long as I can see them and I know that I can trust them in certain things, I want them to feel like they can be independent and kind of go and do their own thing. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I've taken.
Yeah, because I think if you do that case of holding them too close and like always nitpicking at what they're doing, it's gonna break their self-esteem, and
I think they're gonna rebel at some point as well.
Yeah.
Like, when they get older.
And the rebellion's going to be worse than their natural, because naturally a child will test the waters and rebel naturally anyway. It's in part of natural human instinct. But I think if you lock them down, the rebellion's going to be worse and a lot harder to handle than if you don't lock them down.
I'm going to find it hard though when my boys get older, letting them out and letting them do their own thing without one of us there. It's like even if it's like going to the park that's like down the road from us just by themselves. I'm gonna have to really like adjust for that because I'm gonna personally find it hard.
Do you reckon?
Just how the world is now, like
the world is mentally.
It has changed so much.
It's just not that safe out
there.
there.
Me and Bobby was talking about this on the way actually here, and when we was driving, I was saying to Bobby like, I grew up in probably one of the most deprived areas of Birmingham, but still we had sense of being able to play. So I was about 7 or 8 when I used to play around the corner in the park by my mum's. Don't get me wrong, there was obviously still gang violence stuff going on then, but there was mobbers within the gangs. They wouldn't bring it to the parks. If you weren't involved, you was never targeted. They'd do it out of the way. People did their drugs or whatever, not in the kids' parks. The kids could go to the parks and actually enjoy the park. When the lights come on, you could walk yourself home. Happy days.
That's the thing, and like now it's like anyone can get it.
This is what we were saying. It's fair game for the teenagers. For the teenagers, it's just fair game.
For teenagers, it's tough. However, what I will say is, I don't think much has actually changed. I think social media has changed the way we see it, because you will see one incident that is all over social media for 1 week. One incident in the whole city of 1 million people. Like, you don't see, oh, my kid went out to the park today, nothing happened. Nobody posts that. Nobody nobody talks about that. I suppose
you're right in a sense that with social media now, because there's a lot of like groups and stuff, and like you hear about
things get highlighted.
Yeah, you hear more about the bad stuff that happens, where back in the day you didn't have that, so you didn't. But I do personally think it's got worse.
Yeah,
the way that like knife crime is higher now than it was when we were younger, and the fact that people are getting jacked for stuff more these days. There is grooming and stuff. Yeah, like phones are getting stolen. Like if you buy your kid a nice bike and he's riding around in it, that will get jacked, and then they'll sell it on for something else.
These are my fears, and I think for me, obviously, being someone who's been on both sides of the law,
Yeah.
and been the person doing the robbery and the person who's also been robbed. I think when it comes to my kids, my way to combating this is self-defense, like not making them go to either boxing, karate, jiu-jitsu, something along them lines.
Is that something that you got from your?
It'll be
your
from my dad that will,
Yeah.
because my dad was very much into the boxing, and if me and my brothers were arguing as kids,
Yeah.
my dad's number one thing was to grab us and say, "Go on, then scrap it out."
Yeah.
And we'd be like, "Well, we don't want to scrap, Dad." And my dad would be like, "Well, it's not that deep then, so I don't want to hear it again, do
Yeah.
I?" So we was always embedded to be able to defend and fight for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think
So
that's
you've carried that on from like.
yeah, and I think
what your dad taught you
in
and
my experience as a child, when I was a child, that saved me
Mm.
on countless times. Partially because I was out there actually looking for trouble. Like I said, I've been on both sides of the law. I was out there actually looking for trouble. So, but being able to fend for myself is what is partially probably the reason I'm still even here breathing. Like, because there's been situations where if I didn't know what my dad had showed me or got me into, I probably would have been completely bummed.
Yeah.
There's that whole thing, isn't there? Like I was talking to my brother about it the other day, about like, because I walk home from blues matches like through Small Heath. My brother's like, "Be careful," and I was like, to be fair, it's alright. Like
That's probably the best time to walk through.
Yeah, when there's a
Yeah.
match on.
Well,
Yeah,
like,
when there's a match on.
After a football game.
But like the point is though, it's like you will get people approach you. I've had it a couple of times. Like you will get people approach you, and you can't be too aggressive because you'll be in trouble. But you also can't be too weak.
Yeah, you can't be too
Because
passive.
you'll be in trouble.
So you need to be assertive.
Yeah.
You
just
kind of need to be
just
passive
confident
aggressive.
in yourself.
Yeah.
Passive
Confident in
aggressive is how
yourself,
I'd
like-
say it.
So
To talk,
not show fear.
Yeah,
so
so you
say
be
pick up on it. Yeah.
so you kind of open, have a conversation.
You basically got to act
Turn it
like
into a
someone just
conversation.
approached you for a normal reason, isn't it really? And it like
Yeah.
if someone approaches you and you start being all trembly, they're like,
Yeah,
straight away I'm taking
Yeah.
everything that's in
Taking-
your
yeah,
pocket.
yeah,
Yeah. You
No,
start
that
being
makes
all
sense, that makes sense.
start being bossy with them.
But-
They're gonna be like, yeah.
thing is, though, you
want
can,
it,
like-
want it.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. That's experience.
Yeah.
You can't teach
Street
that
smart.
to someone.
I mean, you
Yeah.
And that's what you get from giving them the freedom.
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
to
yeah.
Make,
So
That's
like
the thing, yeah,
you're
giving them
saying
freedom.
you need that street smarts then, but then are we being counterintuitive by taking our kids and putting them in these like
Situation.
areas where they're a little bit more safer, probably less street smart than we were growing up in the areas that we did. So they're not gonna have that. They're not
This
gonna
is-
have that street smart. So when they get approached in that situation, which they probably will at some point, they won't know how to react to it.
But do you know what though? Like that's where it's like. Do you know what? If you know, it doesn't even like it's not even just my kids. It's any kid of anybody I know. I would always tell them in that situation, if someone's coming after your phone,
Give it.
just give it. I'd
Yeah.
I'd much rather.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
anybody would much rather just be like, yeah, just
Yeah.
just have
You
it.
know
not
what?
stop
I'm not on about situations like that because I think any of us
Yeah.
would say just give them
But like,
what they're
yeah.
asking for.
Would you say an example of what you're trying to say is when we see certain groups, we're going to move out the way, whereas someone who's less street smart than us might not know to move.
I'll give you a scenario. So like, say they're on road and that they're just like doing what they're doing, and then they get approached by some people. So like in a situation where you've been approached and then you confidently like speak to them, so they just leave you be, because you've had that street smarts in their situation where they're on the road and then they're being approached by somebody. Because they haven't got that street smarts, because of the parenting that we've done, we've taken them out. We've taken them out of like
The
deprived
immediate threat and the danger and
deprived
yeah.
area. So they haven't been socially aware to that stuff. So they're probably going to come across a little bit scared or intimidated.
Yeah.
Do you know what though?
yeah.
That's
you can teach
but
it in
that's
different
important.
ways.
That's
Um,
important. They'll learn from that. Obviously, you hope they don't get hurt. Obviously, of course.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the thing is, if they're going to be in that situation, they're going to be in that situation. And then once they've been in it once,
you can't help
once
that,
they've been in it once, like hopefully there'll be things that they might have done right, and then things that they need to learn from, and be like, okay, either I completely avoid that area, completely avoid that situation, or like I know that I just got to be assertive, like especially for like girls who are walking on their own or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think girls should ever walk.
It's
by
it's
themselves.
Yeah.
bad. It's bad in my area. I can't even lie.
This is a question for you
that's
actually,
my main
Bobby.
worry for when the girls grow up is like
This is probably a more suitable thing for you and Chris, like Bobby and Chris. Me and Natty, we've got lads. it's for us as much as we're worried. We can teach them to scrap. We can teach them to do so. We can teach them to be the bosses of the road if they need to be the bossy kids. Like if they need to be boom. What do you do for your daughters to keep them safe? Because you can't always walk everywhere with them. You can't be in 10 places at once.
No.
Your partner might not be able to, or their mum might not be able to, and so there's going to be going to schools and stuff on their own.
I think the main thing to do, like for me, I've got one of each. I've got a daughter and a son.
Yeah.
And obviously my stepdaughter. But I think obviously it's I'm gonna swear. That they
What is that class of 2 sets? They said
Careful, there's a kid in the room.
Sorry, little boy.
Make your dad, man.
1 second, let me go call my parents for the end of this.
It's terrible that they have to. I'm not going to swear again.
Carry on.
That they have to do like things like call a friend or like have these apps that they'll get protected. But I think that's something that you need to have in place, especially for the girls growing up in this current climate. Maybe it will change when my kids are a bit older. But we hope, yeah. But I think the main thing myself and you two guys can do, and that I know you will do, is teach your boys respect for women, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
That's a good one. Like whenever I ask this question, I've never had someone come at me like that. Loads of people just say, "Oh, you got to make sure your daughter's protected. Maybe send her to self-defense." But no one's actually said, "But what about we nail out the problem?"
You gotta
exactly. Yeah.
Nip it in the bud from.
What if we
iron out? If you get rid of the problem, there's no problem.
Yeah, if we make all our lads respectful to women and understanding right and wrong,
prevention is
better than cure.
Indeed,
yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the main thing I've taken from my parents. Like there was a lot of when I was growing up, there was a lot of respect for each other. Everyone within the house, like everyone was special for their own thing. There was a lot of respect. And I think going a bit off subject of that, the other thing that I've taken from my parents is, especially from my dad, showing up, that I want to bring into that I try to bring into mine. I think it's so important for as parents we need to show up for our kids whenever they need us, because like I remember especially there was a time when we were in secondary school. We were playing for the school team, and my dad used to come to every game, mainly because he loved watching me play. But I absolutely loved that. I absolutely loved him being there, and I remember one of our teachers was trying to take this out of me because my dad was there.
That's another pound.
And
I was the other way. I didn't really like it when my dad would come to like games and stuff.
Why?
The reason being
extra pressure.
It was extra pressure, and I felt like I played more freely.
Yeah.
Because like my dad's not massively into football because he was a cricket man. But like there was certain times when he'd be there and I'd be playing. I'd feel like I'd had a good game, but then he'd be like telling me, "Oh, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that?"
Yeah, so he's highlighting your mistakes.
Yeah, so I'm like,
yeah.
So do you reckon you took it from your dad not to do that to your kids when you go to their games?
See, bringing it back to bringing it back to what we were talking about, parenting styles. See, I've kind of approached it a different way to how my dad did it, because my dad was born in 1956, so he's an old man. He was raised in Jamaica by his nan, my great grandma.
Straight to the point, isn't it?
Yeah, so he's like he's straight to the point.
Very direct.
Very direct. Wasn't the best communicator when we were growing up. So like he was like the disciplinarian. So like it was very much like you need to do what you're doing. If you don't, you're gonna get punished. This, that, and the other. So I've kind of flipped it. So I want to be a good communicator with my sons. I want to be firm with them, but I want I want it to be where they can come to me and talk to me about anything and not be scared to.
Yeah.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it's what you said there is a good point as well. It's like it's not just learning from the good things that your parents did, but like
Also
some of the
learning
things
from
that they did that made you feel a certain way. You don't want your kids to feel
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
So like it's kind of like you can almost turn what's
Yeah.
more of a negative experience into a positive. And,
Yeah,
and the thing
exactly.
is, we'll all make mistakes, and when our kids are older, they'll probably tell us, "Oh, we didn't like it when you did this," or
Yeah.
Yeah,
"We wish
this
you
is the
did
thing.
more
And
of
like,
that."
it's a weird one because like me and my dad have got a great relationship now that like I'm older, and it's blossomed even more now that I've got kids for myself.
Yeah.
Because like I like see and appreciate the pressures that he
That
had
he
to go through.
underwent
Yeah.
himself.
And like I come to him for like advice about like my kids and stuff as well now.
Oh.
So like we've got a great like communication and rapport with each other where like back in the day we didn't really have that because like he's me and him weren't the best at communicating. Like I didn't come to him for a lot of stuff. But it was weird because like when I finally decided I need to come to him and speak to him about stuff, like he had like really good advice for me.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of eye-opening. So I just wish that communication was there when I was younger. So that's why I want to instill that into my boys.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think to round this one up, then I think we should go around and all of us could just like highlight the most positive thing we took from our parents, which we brought into our parenting, and something which not the most negative because we're not here to badmouth our parents. Sorry, Mum, I love you. But like something they might have done, which we've took and spun, so that because of the way we was affected.
Yeah.
So if I could easily start on this one, like the negative thing would be my mum threw me out from a young age because I was a lot to handle, and as much as yes, I still thank her, even though like it did put me on a bad foot to start life with being homeless, going through hostels and homeless shelters and all the rest. It was a lot of character building. It also stopped me being a little pain in the. Yeah, I'm not trying to put a pound in that jar. I just looked at that jar. I was about to say something, and I looked at that jar.
Exclusively.
But yeah, so like I was a pain, and it made me change. But I wouldn't do it to my kids. I've always said like my kids can be 40 at home, and even though it might be taking the mick a little being 40 at home, I will be putting my foot on their
in this day and
backside.
age, you probably won't be, man.
The thing that this is the thing. So like I'd rather my kids. The reason why I've spun it round where my kids can stay home as long as they need to stay home is because I didn't start with no income that was stable. I didn't start with any savings or go from my mum's house to my own house. I went from my mum's house to the streets. I want them to be going from mine to their own place. I want them ideally to have stable income where they can uphold that. Obviously my door's always open. If they're 12 months down the line, they've messed up and need to come home, they can come home. But hopefully once they go out, they're gone and I can enjoy retirement. So that's the negative things, and I think the positive things, it's obviously my dad passed when I was 7, so I didn't have my dad. I had my mum pretty much most of my life, and I think one of the most positive things with my mum was pretty much like what you were saying about your parents. She let me learn from my own mistakes. The rules were like, these are very, very, very light rules. You need to have your coat on the back of the chair by the time I wake up. Don't care what time you come home as long as your coat's there. If your coat's not there, I'm calling the police and the whole area is getting shut down for you. So as long as I was in and my coat was on the back of the chair, she knew I was home. Happy days.
Yeah.
Please do not knock my door, because if please knock my door, I am going to snitch on you and you're not coming back here. You're not getting bailed to my address. And to be fair, I think those are the only two rules. Obviously, I'm not doing the exact same, but I think it was a positive thing for me because I learned a lot from character, and I always knew I could go home and speak to my mum. If I did screw up, like there was a few times I screwed up with the law, a few times I screwed up with just friends, I could go speak to my mum, she'd give me advice, and she'd always be there for me. Like she was there when I kind of had no choice but to hand myself in for robbing this kid's phone. I started getting calls and texts on the phone threatening me, and there's like they sent me my mum's address and said they tracked it. I was like,
oh no.
Oh sugar, I've screwed up now. I'm gonna get like 10 big uncles come to the door. Forget the please, I'm dead. So I've ended. My mum actually went with me to the station, even though she knew I'd robbed someone's phone. I'd been a little bit. What I've took from that is being there for my sons, letting them know yes, you're okay to make mistakes. No, don't think you're not having a home time. You are having a home time, but like I'm gonna be a bit more relaxed and say on there stepping on them all the time. Let them have a bit of freedom to make their mistakes. I'm always here when you make the mistakes, though. Don't think just because you made a mistake you can't run to me and I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to bail you out. That's a definite no. We're working together on fixing it. You got yourself in that mess.
Yeah.
We're both getting you out. But that's the positive and negatives I took from my parent.
Okay.
Which way are we going?
What's yours, Breezy?
I reckon showing up for my dad. I think everything I do now is based around my kids. So like I will always schedule anything that I need to do. Is like, oh, if I've got my kids, then I'm not doing it. Got my kids. It's my kids' time. So showing up for them. I think that's having that safe space as well. Like my parents and something I've noticed myself saying recently is like, they've always said you'd be in more trouble if you lie to me. So tell me the truth, and we can sort it. But if you lie to me,
you're done. Exactly
like
my mum that is,
So like that's something, and I've noticed with our kids that like we've seen it's a slow process, because like as kids, when you've been naughty, when you want to hide it, you think you're going to get in trouble and all that business. But like if the parents give them a safe space to make the mistakes, like you say, then that's really I think that will help with that thing of what Bobby was telling, like sort of street smarts without being in the streets. I think. But and then the negatives, I think there was quite a lot of shouting in my household growing up. So communication, like Natty was saying, like communication was something that we never really did too much. Like there was a lot of respect, but like the communication there was a lot of things swept under the rug and like
just like
to rear their ugly head. And I noticed, like, because I'm quite similar to my mum in that respect, that I'm quite a fiery character when I get like wound up and that. So I've had to do a lot of work on myself since being a parent and since going through the breakup and court and stuff like that. That I've had to work on myself rather than like going down this massive like black hole that I could have gone down. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself for doing that, and then come out the other side, and I can see the fruits of that labour with my kids, like communicating with them, talking to them, helping them to understand where I'm coming from, me letting myself understand where they're coming from, and sort of like meeting in the middle. So yeah. That's me.
For me, I've touched on it already. It's like the communication thing, like being having good communication with my kids, making sure that they can come to me with anything. So if they feel like they're going to be in trouble, they can still come to me anyway, and then we can sort it out, and they can learn from it by us communicating together. That's one of the positive things. Another one is kind of teaching them certain like morals and like how to manners and how to carry yourself in front of other people. Because the one thing in my household growing up, it was definitely do not embarrass me when you're on street. It's like my parents would tell me, like they will know somebody that's out on the street, and if they hear that I've done anything bad on the street, then that's it. I knew to always have manners and always carry myself appropriately on the street, or if I'm in somebody else's yard. Another one was kind of, they taught me a lot about what it is to be a black man in this world, and how I'm gonna have to navigate certain things, and how I'm gonna have to like navigate certain situations in life, whether it be like in the workplace or
because of unnecessary obstacles.
Or when I'm approached by police or whatever it is. So I'm gonna have to instill that into my kids as well, because yes, they're mixed race kids, but when they reach a certain age and they step out into that world,
they're just black.
they're just gonna be black boys.
that's horrible and all, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
It's horrible to think
it's
about.
horrible that you have to do that. It's like, but
Yeah.
it's something that's
It's
that's
a precaution and
needed
measure that you
for
have to
women.
do. You
Yeah,
know what?
exactly.
So,
I'm glad you mentioned that one though as well, because it's not something that me, Chris, or Bobby would have
No.
naturally mentioned, because I haven't got to teach my son
we'd
Yeah.
never have that lived experience.
because they've got white privilege, quite literally
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
white
And
privilege.
it's
whereas-
like, Chris, you've experienced it yourself through me.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we went to Denmark?
Yeah.
And we went to a football game,
okay.
and a friend of ours wanted to sit in like
Oh
with
my
the
God.
ultra fans, and I
Yeah.
was like, I cannot
Yeah.
sit in there.
It's
They were white.
literally, it was like we went to the ticket desk at FC Copenhagen. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Went to the ticket desk to get the tickets, and there was this girl serving the tickets, and this lad he lives in like Warmley, that sort of Coalfield, so it's
So
like
he doesn't
proper,
really know.
sort of middle class and that, and so
sort of.
and like it was only really me and Natty who were from areas that were a bit more like,
Working class
from
and so on.
Erdington,
Yeah.
from Whitton.
Yeah.
And then we've got up. He's asked for the tickets, and she said, what stand do you want to sit? And he's like, where do the ultras sit? And she points it out, and it's like, yeah, we'll go there. And she peers, literally like peers round to look at Natty. And goes, are you sure?
Wow.
And me and Natty looked at each other, and we looked at like I was about to say, yeah.
Can't sit in there, bro.
We were like, mate,
It's an
Cannot
extremely
do it.
racist part of
Yeah.
the stand, I'm guessing.
yeah.
Like even if it wasn't, like, it's not worth
Yeah.
taking that chance. But
Nah.
I'm in a foreign country anyway.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you don't
And,
know
like,
your way out. And
I'm
if you
in
need to get
Denmark,
out.
so like Denmark is Nordic, so it's predominantly white.
Very,
So-
very
so
white.
like when we went there, I was thinking,
Yeah.
like trying to get my bearings a little bit anyway when we first were there. But then because we were in Copenhagen, it's quite
metropolitan.
yeah, it's quite metropolitan and multicultural, so I was okay. But like it's
Yeah.
just like stuff like that, like.
But the joke thing is, like, when we actually got into the stadium, we were sat by the away fans, and the away fans were even more racist than
Oh,
bloody-
you should have
Yeah.
gone to the ultrasound, man.
Yeah. It was bad, but they messed that up though because we went in the family end, and the
Oh,
family end is
even
next
worse.
to the.
That
the
way,
away.
Yeah.
Why the fuck
It's a
This
joke.
makes
Like, it
no
don't make
sense.
sense.
Can't matter. Oh,
But yeah,
Yeah.
I digress.
Reading it back,
but
so,
yeah, so,
yeah,
like,
so
yeah,
you're teaching, obviously,
yeah,
your boys.
Yeah, teaching my boys like when they get of age and they're out on the street by themselves,
Please stop them.
Yeah,
You've got to
yeah.
act in this way. They might act this way towards
they need
you.
to
and-
navigate certain situations
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's-
Because it's true though. It's honestly true.
Yeah,
As you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I've got my business partner that I do business with. He's a black man. Me and him have been in a situation where a call was made for me. Like the description was me. The sergeant, when she come to the scene in the end, because
Yeah.
the responding officer was completely out of line. The sergeant come to the scene, and she looked at the person in the cuffs and the person who was free, which was me, and went, "We've got them backwards." And I was like, I've been screaming.
Yeah.
I've been telling this police officer I've got a knife on me. I didn't.
Yeah.
I've been telling the police officer I've got a knife on me so he would search me.
And they
Yeah.
still didn't.
And
put me
he's
in
not
handcuffs.
searched me. He's got my black friend in cuffs. And he's refusing to take it. I said, mate, I've
That
got a
right
knife on me.
there,
Take him out of cuffs.
That's
I-
just
the
unbelievable.
worst thing, I got arrested for saying I was going to stab a police officer. I told him, I will stab you. Like, I'm trying to scare him to do
Yeah,
me
yeah.
and it. Like, I'm testing the waters.
Yeah.
He still
It's,
did
it's,
that.
a, it's a hard one as well because like you don't want to preach at them to the point where
Don't
they
wanna
just
scare 'em.
yeah
they
they,
end up doing you over as well.
yeah,
Like,
and they
this-
just end up like hating authority or police
yeah,
and stuff.
this is the thing.
But you need to instill in them that like they're gonna be viewed differently.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to be treated
Yeah.
differently by these people.
They
like,
are.
100%. And then, so is that you
Bobs.
rapping your parenting styles?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
pretty much, man. Pretty much.
So,
yeah.
Bobs, how would you say, like, your mum, your dad, obviously you come from a family where the parents were separated, which I'm guessing, is that separate from you guys? Did you guys have your
Yeah, parents were together. So.
Together.
Yeah, my
together.
parents were
I had one
as well,
dead, one alive. You're one of the ones that's had both parents, but they've been in two different. So what did you take from them, like?
So again, the positive, obviously, what I said already was about like the being able to make my own mistakes, which is a huge positive. But then I'd say the negative which turned to a positive is that I grew up around a lot of like shouting, or a lot of my early memories are just like shouting and stuff. And it's not that my mum and dad are bad people; they just weren't compatible anymore. And then so I grew up around all that, and then there's all sorts of drama like between like when each of them met someone else, all that kind of stuff. It was all just chaos. So like I don't want my girls to see confrontation at all.
Yeah.
So like my home is a place of love. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean you can't have disagreements. That doesn't mean that things can't upset people. But it can be handled in a.
It needs to be well communicated rather than screaming and shouting.
It comes down to that communication again. It's like, this upsets me. This is why. You don't need to be shouting at each other. It's just not. Yeah. Kids don't need to see that. I know how it made me feel, and I don't want my girls to see.
I had the opposite of that in my house. Like my parents, they never used to like talk about stuff to the point where it got to an argument. It was either swept under the rug, and there'd be like a lot of like passive aggressive stuff. You probably can relate to that. There'd be passive aggressive stuff for a bit.
I think I do that to this day, to be honest.
And then like it would kind of
slap while
it would kind of just like go back to normal. So there was no like you didn't see
resolution.
You didn't see adults like having a conflict, sorting it out, and then it going back to normal. It was just like snappiness, passive
throw it under the rug.
Yeah.
Back to the
kids do learn from
you pick up on it. So like I had to like teach myself how to like
have an argument.
Basically communicate with my partner, like if we're having like a dispute and stuff. But, sorry to cut you short.
No, good. And then I guess from my mum, she's always said like whenever there's been any sort of situation, she's always just like, what will be will be. And it's such a simple thing, but it's like, do you know what? Do what you can, and like
adds a lot of peace to your heart.
Yeah, like do what you can, and it will be as it needs to be.
Yeah.
And as long as you do what you can. Yeah. What else can you do? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that I've took that as a good thing from my mum.
Yeah, you can't dwell on stuff, man.
From my dad, and I only actually realised this after he passed away, and it was that I used to talk to my dad whenever I had like something I was worried about, when I was thinking about something before I made big decisions. I always used to talk to my dad, and like we'd have long conversations that lasted hours and stuff. Like, I did miss that, and I remember when he passed, I was kind of like, I've talked to my dad about this now. Like,
who's going to fill that void?
So like, what do I do? But then I actually realised that when I was sort of asking my dad questions, he never actually answered a single thing.
He just guided you.
He guided you to the answer.
Yeah, basically. He'd just kind of challenge what I'm thinking, for and against, all that kind of stuff. Until I came with my own answer. And that's priceless. Really, and so then I realised that actually I've just got to kind of, whatever I'm thinking about, really, it's like a deep level of pros and cons, essentially.
It's like a mind, like instead of doing a physical mind, like you're doing a mental one. Your dad's challenging you on things and going different routes, isn't it? And then he's allowing you to know that you actually have the power to work this out for yourself.
Yeah, it's almost like it didn't matter what he thought about it. He'd still challenge me so that I'd think about it from every angle.
I think that's a great way.
Devil's advocate.
Great way of parenting. I do.
Yeah.
And I only realised it after he'd gone, because I was like, hang on a minute, like the whole time I found the answers. He guided me, but he never actually gave me an answer.
All he did was
and that was probably far more important than saying, I think you should do this.
Yeah, I bet he's so proud. He would have been so proud of you for like coming to that realisation as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if he knew he was doing it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's brilliant. It's brilliant in so many ways as well, because he now knows what you're going through. He's able to help you in a certain way, but at the same time, he hasn't, because you've made your own decision about it. So you've made your own decision, and like you've come to a conclusion yourself. So you've developed yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've like developed a bond with your dad, because you've both like sat and spoke it out and talked it out. So he's like still included in your life at like a bigger age, because you still come into him with problems and stuff. Yeah. So to me, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
It's huge. Brilliant. Right, then, so that wraps up episode 3 of the DadPod. So if you like what you heard or saw, make sure to like and subscribe or follow us on whatever you're listening to us on.
And send us your stories because we want to talk about your issues as well. So, yeah, inboxes on Insta, TikTok, Facebook, whatever.
Because we want to bring like the audience in and like you guys in. So like if you have anything that you want us to talk about, anything you think we could help you with, like Chris said, put it in the inbox.
And where can they find us?
Instagram. at DadPod UK.
I mean, they can find us at Instagram, but we're on
DadPod UK on Instagram.
DadPod UK on Facebook, Instagram. We haven't got Snapchat because we're a bit too old for that.
All of them things. But yeah, till the next one. This has been DadPod. Peace out.
Peace.